Me and you know that what Black Americans are saying is true. Me and you know that Black Americans do not have allies. Me and you know that every single thing regarding Black Americans should be sorted out. A lot of you just feel comfortable whenever it's regarding the Black community. Oh, they can do it themselves. Oh, I don't need to come out for the Black community. Oh, the Black community are strong enough. You see people as they are strong enough, but you want them to come out, you want them to unite, you want allyship whenever it's regarding your community. That is what I call greed. That is what I call what name do I use for this? Ah, but it's not making sense. It's not just making sense. I don't expect anybody to fight for me if I'm not fighting for that person. And if I am fighting for you, I'm coming through for you in every single aspect of your life. I'm supporting you either physically, financially, materially, any way I'm supporting you. And I find out that you are not supporting me, I'm going to withdraw because I am a human being. I should feel it as well. So if Black Americans are saying they don't have allied and it's paining some of you, know that that is what it is and there's nothing you can do about it. But anyways, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sunia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. With that being said, let's dive right into this video. I'll be back with commentaries. Water.
Americans do not have allies. Black Americans do not have allies. Black Americans do not have allies. Black Americans do not have allies. Why do y'all keep on pushing this narrative about certain people being for you when they aren't? They are being performative. And you have no discernment to see what is going on right in front of your damn face. All of a sudden these countries got all this love for Black Americans, but they don't even have love for the damn melanated people of their own lands. Somebody better make it make sense, and somebody better make it make sense quickly, because y'all are not making any sense. And y'all don't understand real life. Y'all don't understand war. Y'all don't understand y'all don't understand shit. And I need my people to get off it. I need y'all to get off this bandwagon. I need y'all to stop inviting people to cookout. I need y'all to stop talking about, I need y'all to stop. Blacks for this, blacks for that. I could really go into details that if motherfuckers was for Black people, but y'all still would just, it would go right past your face and y'all still just, oh no, they did this one thing back in 1959, so yeah, they fuss. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Black Americans have no allies. Black Americans have no allies. Your fights and your plights are not the same as other minorities. They may intersect at times, but they are totally different. And you will get left at the wayside, and them people are going to run off in the sunset with their group of people. You are going against your best interests. You don't have to hate anybody, but you need to see things clearly and truthfully for what it is and what's truly going on. You need to research. You need to get off social media. You need to read. You need to read some more, and some more, and some more.
White women are not our friends. Like if you're a Black woman, most white women are not our friends, okay? When they do connect with us, it's often from a place of hierarchy, guilt, or pedestalization, rarely ever in solidarity, right? When they do connect with us, it's just to reinforce power, right? It's not from a space of partnership, and it's been this way since the plantation, right? Since slavery days, it's been this way. I want you to watch this video.
For the second time in 3 weeks, a black man who I am a colleague to has sent me a joke about how soft and nurturing and coddling white women are and how mean and harsh black women are in relationships. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're a white woman, don't participate in that. It's not funny. They're testing to see what you're going to do, what you're going to say. It is absolutely disgusting that they even think that it's okay to send me that, and it's offensive to me that they believe I'm going to laugh at the expense of black women. There's nothing funny about it. There are plenty of things that we can joke about, plenty of people that we can poke fun of. The last people who need to be the center of a joke are black women. And additionally, this is a pattern I've seen over years of black men married to black women who form a friendship with white women, myself, and then start finding a way to put black women down to get into the good graces of me. And that tells me everything I need to know about you as a man, you as a husband, you as your character, and not someone I want to be around, because I work very hard to be a safe space, to know better, do better, and the last thing I'm going to do is get involved in your fury.
So their power has always been connected to our dehumanization. So even today, when they try to stand with us, it's from a place of being our sympathizers or our saviors, rarely from just seeing us as equals. So their version of connecting with us and standing with us is being like us being someone that they can pity, them being someone who they can be superior towards, them centering themselves as like the moral one. Are y'all tracking that? While we continue to be positioned as like the one who's struggling, as like the struggle or whatever. And why do I say this? Her response is technically correct, right? It's the morally correct one, which is like, oh no, don't put other women down to get close to me. Still centering herself as the moral one. So much so that she can't realize that the true insult is to her. She can't realize that. Right? So it's in the verbiage. She's like, oh, don't put nobody else down to get into good graces with me. They're putting you down and telling you that you're easier prey. Okay? So instead of seeing it as, oh, I prefer white women, it's I prefer less resistance. Okay? But they can't see it that way. She's caught up in performing sisterhood. If you watch that video and you actually took time to slow down and read the examples of the jokes that the black men were making with her about us, okay? What she got from that was, oh no, I'm not gonna help you laugh at black women. I have to be the good one, the morally just one, I stand with them. You're not gonna get to put down another woman. You're not gonna get to. It's like, girl, there's a bigger issue here. The bigger issue is not that he's putting us down, it's that he's putting you down. Yeah, he's putting you down. But because of their hierarchical, their superior mindset, they still see us as the butt of the joke. Their default is to see us as the one who's the struggle in this joke, right? You are the mockery. When black men come to white women and say things like, oh, we really like white women because black women, they're too hard on us, or they're too loud, or they're too this, or they're too that, and they're not soft enough. But you're soft, and you this, and you're peaceful. And whenever that is the rhetoric, white women need to see that they are the butt of that joke. Okay? They're offending you. They're telling you that you're easier to access, that you are the weakest link. That's what they're telling you. But they cannot see that because they think and believe that they're superior to us. Okay? And if you are a white woman who supports my content, do not feel offended by my words, okay? If it doesn't apply to you, then it doesn't apply. I do know that there are women who are not of color who are able to actually stand with us in true solidarity and see themselves in us and not pity us or sympathize with us or whatever the case may be. I'm not saying that they don't exist, right? I'm talking about the majority of white women. That's what I'm talking about, the majority. Don't take it as a reason to feel offended or attacked, but rather take it as a teaching moment to figure out how you're going to connect better in the future, right? Self-reflect with what I'm saying. Don't take offense to what I'm saying. I remember one day there was this post of like I think it was like a Twitter post, and there was like men saying like, oh, they want to get them a white woman because something about like they'll build with you and they don't care as much about money. And the white women were in the comments like, we don't know what the hell you're talking about, but we want your money and we will leave you and we will take the kids, the dog, the house, the car, everything. They were defending themselves. They were like, we are not these weak, meek women that y'all keep on insinuating or keep on pushing the rhetoric that we are. We are not that. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I want to see y'all defend yourselves when they make jokes about you. That's what I want to see, because that joke was not about us. They are talking negatively about you too. They're making jokes about you as well. Defend yourself. Don't sympathize with us. Defend yourself.
Not be trying to work with white women over the next 4 years. The whole blue bracelet debacle is something to protect you. It is not even something that oppressed people have asked you to do to protect us. Second of all, y'all don't listen, and you're never 10 toes down for anything that you stand for. So to be honest, I don't want y'all.
Who's gonna go to his account and tell him? Who gonna tell him? Are you gonna tell him, or am I gonna tell him? Who's gonna tell him? Chat, who's gonna tell him?
It's so crazy that people genuinely think that like women's suffrage was won by all women coming together and engaging in protests. Fuck no. No. No, you think it was the mail bombings? You think it was the group protests? You think it was the poster boards? No. Women didn't get the right to vote until what, like 1920? The 15th Amendment was in the 1800s. The winning argument for white women to be able to vote was them looking at white men and being like, there's no way you're gonna let niggers vote before us. That was literally the argument. Right. Where is this propaganda coming from? There has never in a million years been a movement in which white women have been in solidarity with any other group. That just doesn't exist. At least not in America. That's what I'm saying. He don't like y'all either. White women got the right to vote because the agreement was that they would vote alongside their men. Black women actively went against black men during the women's suffrage movement. That's why the black woman experience during that time was choosing between the misogyny of black men and the unyielding racism and bigotry of white women. That's why a lot of black women actually left the women's suffrage movement. In meetings amongst women for these protests, they wouldn't even allow the black women to sit in the same room. They had a whole segregated spot for them. So when you say white women got up and fought alongside other women, bitch, who are you talking about? The most prolific white feminist voices from that time were profoundly racist. Have any of you ever read have any of you guys ever read anything from these people? This is why I'm not a feminist. Look at how white women are voting to this day. They got the right to vote because they showed white men that they were going to maintain the status quo no matter what alongside them. That being the racism, the segregation, the systemic oppression, all of that. Look at what's going on. What are we talking about, bro? No, fuck that feminism shit.
Saw a post that this white woman put a caption that said, working with black women is working in the trenches. And then she stitched the video with a black woman saying that working in the trenches is working with white women. And she's like, oh, she can say this, but I can't say that. Correct. The black woman has every right to call out white women. You know why? Because racism is still alive and well. Black women still experience more oppression than you as a white woman will ever experience. It is not reverse racism. It is not the same thing. Reverse racism, not a thing. White oppression, not a thing. This is where intersectionality comes into play, right? You as a woman could be oppressed, but you as a white person, no, not a thing. However, a black woman experiences duality in that sort of oppression, correct? A woman and a person of color, correct? And truthfully, you proved the black woman's point. If the post wasn't about you, you wouldn't have gotten upset.
Biggest misconception about white women is that they are allies to women by default. They're not allies to women by default. A lot of white women's allyship is not to women. It's to whiteness and it's to power, which connects them very directly to the white men in power. And they have a unique relationship with allyship because they can pick and choose according to their interests and what privileges they want to keep versus lose. And you need to understand that for a lot of white women, voting for Kamala Harris would have included loss of privilege because just like a lot of white men, they have unearned guardrails in their life and privilege in their life. For a lot of white women, voting for Kamala would have meant giving up some of those things and having to be an actual ally to women. They would have had to examine things about themselves that are not pretty to look at. They would have had to look at somebody in power that doesn't really look like them. Because again, a lot of them are allies more so to whiteness and American culture and power in general. For them, that provides a lot of benefits. White women have the option of removing themselves from the women category, right? They can vote according to all sorts of different interests. A lot of times they mistakenly believe that a man has got their back. If they just vote the same way as him, if they sort of approximate, right, themselves in allyship to the same things that men are allied and in proximity to, they think they will get all the same benefits and protections, which is never, ever, 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 ever true, but they think so anyway. They vote against their own interests and the interests of other women. They think that when it comes to them, they're going to be an exception. And that's only true for the rich people. As a regular woman, that's only true for you while you are young and pretty and you don't have 5 children hanging off of you so much that you're neglecting your husband and you're neglecting your wifely duties, at which point he will divorce you. That's when white women turn into women, right? That's when their allyship, does a 180. And now the men are the enemy and it's women need to support women and who's going to watch my kids and who's going to do this. Yeah, so white women really think they can take themselves out of the women category. And to be fair, they can. It's just that when life kicks them back into that category, they always regret it. They always go back on their word. A lot of these white women that have voted, they're either married still, and they're aligning themselves with men instead of women. When other women criticize them for that, it's like, well, aren't I a woman too? And it's like, no, not exactly. White women have always benefited from aligning themselves with men, especially in America, because there have always been minorities in America. To absorb the burden that white women would have otherwise had to carry for men. And what I'm specifically referring to is something that I said in a TikTok or two before Black women rightfully called me out. But I used to say this thing, women couldn't work, like men took away our right to work. And Black women were like, we work the whole time. We always have worked. That's very, very true. Just so you know, that's what white women are trying to avoid. They're trying to avoid that path because that is the path of most resistance and most oppression. White women are so close, right, to the tippy top. So they're constantly watching the white men just skating on by in life on that path of least resistance. And they're running and running and running to try to keep up with the men and be, let me jump on, let me jump on. And the white men are like, yeah, later, next time. Keep voting for us and we'll definitely, just as long as you keep voting for Republicans. The dream for a lot of white people is just to benefit off of the labor of others. That's why white women don't care. That's why they vote for whatever benefits them. They don't vote with other women. They vote for themselves. They vote to approximate themselves to the source of power, which is a white man, and historically has been a white man. And the way things are going, it's going to be a white man for another 4 years now. Because again, white women get to pick and choose what their allyship is to. They get to choose whom they align themselves with. That's why they always play the woman card. But just so you know, to them, it's not about being a woman and it's not about supporting women. It's about supporting the status quo so that they don't lose any of the privileges that they currently like having. They don't want to align themselves with all women because that would mean they drop down. Do you see what I'm saying? I hope that helps. Allyship is not to women. It's to whiteness.
I am so glad I came across that video I just stitched because it's going to help me emphasize the point I want to make regarding the 4B movement. Before I get into the 4B movement and what this video and the video that I just stitched has to do with that, I want to address what that video was talking about. Because I'm stitching that video, you can go back and watch it to get the full context, but I'm going to paraphrase the main point that I took away from the video in relation to what I'm going to talk about in this video, which is the allyship of white women and how a lot of white women's allyship does not fall with all women. They do not align themselves with all women's problem. However, a lot of white women's allyship is based on the prioritization of whiteness in power or just white supremacy. So any cause or movement that does not help white women reaffirm their whiteness or get them closer to power, they are not going to align their allyship with. So I want to use that point in correlation to the 4B movement conversation that's taking place here in America in retaliation to the recent election results. So if you're not aware of what the 4B movement is, it's a movement that initially started in South Korea back in 2019, where women collectively decided to stop mating, stop having sex, stop marrying, stop having babies with the men in South Korea, resulting in a drastic decline in the birth rates, so much so that they had to close 150 schools this year alone. So now, in light of the recent election results, that conversation has been moved here to America in retaliation to Trump being elected as president. Now, there's something that I want to put on the radar within this conversation. Though I have no horses in this race or dogs in this fight, I still think that it's quite relevant to bring this aspect up when we talk about the 4B movement happening here in America as retaliation to Trump being elected as president. So in the beginning, remember, I was talking about how white women do not align themselves with all of women's problems. Instead, they most likely, and I'm not saying every white woman, but a lot of white women are not going to align themselves with all of women's problem, but instead they're going to find their solidarity in causes that help them reaffirm their whiteness and attain more power, which ultimately just leads to white supremacy in general, right? So when we talk about this 4B movement happening as a result of who was elected as president, think about who the target, who the demographic of this movement is going to be. Now, if we refer back to the statistics of the poll results and looking at which demographics voted for which party, we saw that a large amount of white women did vote for Trump. We did see that a large amount of people of color, not every demographic of people of color, but a large portion of the people of color did vote against Trump, right? And mainly black people were the ones to vote against Trump, okay? We did have like a large amount of Hispanic population vote for Trump, which is a conversation in and of itself. But nonetheless, we did see majoritively black people voting against Trump. So the people who voted against Trump are people who obviously feel that their rights are in violation or under threat by his presidency, right? Especially black women. Black women are going to be the very focus of this conversation of the 4B movement and retaliation, because black women are not protected. I mean, it's one thing to be a woman and another thing to be black, but to be both of them, you're at the bottom of the totem pole in regards to how society is structured. So when we talk about this 4B movement and who would be a key figure in this 4B movement, it would primarily be black women. But mind you, what are the results of the 4B movement? The results are a decline in the birth rates. Are we following? Are you following? Okay, please follow along. There's going to be a drastic decline in the birth rates, especially for a certain given demographic of people who are doing this, the 4B movement, in retaliation to Trump. We also have to think about the people who are standing with Trump, who are the people who voted for him, whose vision for this country aligns with Trump. That would be white people, but specifically white women, especially as it pertains to the 4B movement, because it's going to be primarily focused around women. So if white women if a large, vast majority of white women are not standing along, are not aligning their allyship with this 4B movement, and instead we focus or we depend on the people of color and specifically black women to be the ones to stand on business and to be the united front of this movement, what would that mean for our birth rates? Think fast. What would that mean? What would that mean? So if 2 + 2 = 4, what else is there to say? And I would like to speculate that this could even be this conversation of the 4B movement just coming out of nowhere, really, to be honest, because this could have been talked about way before the election, like before the results of the election. I find it just a bit odd that this came out like right after Trump elected president, right? Well, I guess we were waiting on the results. Either here or there, this, I would speculate to say that this is a part of a plan, because if our birth rates are going to drop, the people who voted against Trump, and primarily people of color and specifically black people, if our birth rates are going to drop because of this, more than it already has been the past decade or so, what does that mean for us, and what does that mean for the vision of America? We know that Trump envisions a white Christo-fascist, nationalist, imperialistic institution. And so if the white women are not standing in allyship with this 4B movement, that is just going to cause a decrease in the birth rates of Black people, people of color, and an influx in the birth rates for white people, which contribute to that vision of a pure white nationalist, like white fascist, Christo-fascist, nationalist, imperialist fucking institution. Like, this might be a part of the fucking plan. This conversation of the 4B movement might be what they're going to start pushing. And I wouldn't be surprised if white women start being the main advocates for this 4B movement, but do in actuality are not standing alongside it. They are promoting it. They're advocating for it, but they're not going to be the ones that are practicing it. They're not going to be the ones that are putting it into action in their own lives. And so I say that just to put that on the radar. I know this is a long ass video, but I thought it was an interesting correlation, and I wanted to put that on the radar as we talk about this 4B movement happening here in America. That's all I have to say. I am done. Food for thought.
You know, the moment Black Americans said they don't have allies, they are on their own, a lot of people tend to be triggered by it. A lot of people feel like Black Americans are overreacting, or Black Americans literally do not know what to say, or Black Americans are always pushing hard. But that's the reality. The reality is every single race, including Africa. I'm from Africa. So every single race have literally, in one way or the other, denied Black Americans. That's just the truth. And I know that whenever I say something like this, I see a lot of people in my comment section said, oh, you're just saying this all because of views. I'm not saying this just because of views. I'm saying this for the fact that I have a Black American mom, still lives in Black America with my siblings, that is still facing this same thing every single now and then. It got to the point my Black American mom said, I think I need to start doing business. And it is quite annoying that most of the experience she shared with me is always coming from immigrants, Hispanics, Latinos, Mexican, Asians. Right? And these are the said people that will always want to say, oh, we are one. We are one. We are one. Can we just move on already? These are the same people that want to play the victim. These are the same people that want to make it look like whenever Black Americans are saying something, Black Americans are always lying. But the reality and the truth is, Black Americans have always been on their own. They have always been fighting their shit. The Supreme Court just ruled against voting rights. The Supreme Court ruled against voting rights. I posted it today. Now, how did all of that came about? We still have a Black person that would have literally spoken, that would have literally stood. But because he hated himself to the point of hating his own people as well, he did nothing about it. He didn't even air out about it. So, and that is why I understand when Black Americans are saying, we don't owe anybody anything. Even me. They don't owe me anything. So, if you have an issue in your community, go sort out yourself. If you have a problem in your community, go do your thing. Quite understanding, frankly speaking. If you have a problem in your community, stand for yourself. You know, the issue of this allyship started coming out more rapidly when Black Americans are now saying, we're no longer coming out to protest for anybody. We're no longer coming out to vote for anybody. We're no longer coming out to fight for anybody. And that was when you start seeing a lot of Latinos, a lot of Hispanic communities doing videos like, oh, we stood with you people during the what was that marching they always call during the civil rights movement. Why that same civil rights movement was also in favor of the Latinos and the Hispanics or whoever that stood. So they never stood because they want to stand. They stood because they actually wanted to gain something out from it. So whenever I see and I see things that happen, and I see that there are common things that should be talked about, that awareness should be brought into picture, and those things is not happening as it's supposed to be, I get so pissed off. And sometimes I ask myself, why is it that Black Americans always have to fight their own battles themselves? They always have to reach out themselves. Okay, now we are having the Supreme Court ruling against Black Americans. I'm not saying that every single race did not speak, but how many Latinos, how many Hispanics, how many Mexicans were ready to speak on that issue? Do not get me wrong. I am not saying that nobody said anything, or none of the Hispanics, none of the Asian. Yes, I did a video and I stitched some videos and I see some video. But the one that we are supposed to take into our hearts, pull out so that the awareness should be loud, is the one that every single person will run away. Now, every single person will now want Black Americans whenever they have a major issue to sort about in their own community. And remember during the time of Somalia, this was how Somalians opened their wide mouth to say, we are not Somali, count us out. We don't have anything to do with you people. We are, we are not blacks. Count us out. We don't have anything to do with you people. We speak Arabs. We eat Arabs food. We are mutually brown. Until they have a major issue to sort out, where the orange man was literally saying Somalians are going, whether they like it or not, bringing ICE agents to whoop their acts, whoop Latino acts, whoop Hispanic acts, whoop Asian acts, whoop Mexican acts, whoop even Africans acts. That was when they now realized that we need allyship. Let's come together. Let's work as one. Why are the Black community not saying anything? Ask yourself, why have you not said anything all through when Black Americans actually needed you? So do not expect things in return when you know that at the end of the day, you are literally not contributing to that community. It is just like me not putting money in this bag and I want to get money from this particular bag. Is as bad as that. You understand? So that is the level where Black Americans are. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. Credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And yes, guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to say that and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.